Hey, what's up? This is Elia Einhorn. Welcome back to the Talkhouse Podcast. Today I'm joined by
Nick Dawson, Editor-in-Chief of Talkhouse Film, and as you know, expert on all things cultural, musical, cinematic, graphic, art, all your stuff. I'm here for your needs.
listeners. We have a very cool episode for you today, recorded right here in New York City at the iconic Strand bookstore in Manhattan in their rare book room. This episode features singer-songwriter extraordinaire Natalie Prass in conversation with her producer, Matthew E. White. They talk all things the future and the past, which is her fantastic new record that just dropped on ATO.
Yeah, this was a very cool event, and it was kind of fascinating to listen to them talk about this record because there was kind of another record that
A precursor.
Exactly. The basically Trump got elected. They had this record that they were going to record in December 2016. They completely scrapped it, and they made a record in response to everything that happened. A record that the country needed, if you like.
Natalie had written a breakup record, and as important as that was to her, she felt that she needed to use her platform as a well-known songwriter to share more of what was actually going on outside of her own world.
I cannot wait for her to write a political breakup record for, when this current administration comes in.
When they flush down the toilet.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Now, Natalie and Matthew actually grew up together. They've known each other since high school. They're both from Virginia Beach and actually, to this day, live sort of a short walk from each other.
Yeah, that was kind of the hilarious thing about this talk is that, as they say at the start, they're doing it in New York City, but they live like 4 blocks from each other in Virginia Beach.
Right. Matthew E. White is a singer-songwriter in his own right, but he's better known as a producer and as the man behind Space Bomb Records. And listeners, in case you're unfamiliar, Space Bomb is a sort of Motown setup in that it's a label. It's a studio that you can rent out, but it's also, he's got a sort of wrecking crew, as it were. He's got his on-call musicians that are a house band for the artists he produces. So he's got a very specific sound in the way that you don't hear very often in modern labels anymore.
And of course, Motown is a real touchstone for Natalie Prass. And they talk about that really fascinating. They talk about her musical roots, the stuff that she likes, some of which, Doobie Brothers, for example, not necessarily super popular or hip, but it's like very heartfelt. That and the way they talk about jazz as well. Something that people like to make fun of, but she feels really deeply about.
Sure. And one thing to know about Natalie is that she is a songwriter's songwriter. She is steeped in the traditions of songwriting and in the craft. She actually went to school for songwriting, which we hear a little bit about in the talk.
Yeah, Matthew asks her, what do you study when you're a songwriter major?
Right. Like, what does school look like for you?
Yeah.
You can really hear her classic songcraft in this song from the new record, Never Too Late. Check it out real quick.
Oh, but can we go back to the way that we were when we were so right together? 'Cause baby, oh, you and I will never be as good on our own. Oh, it is never too late to say I love you. Wish on a falling star above you. Never too late, or to go back to the start.
Nick, to me, the sound of that song could be coming from multiple different eras.
Totally. It's a timeless song.
Natalie and Matthew really cover a lot of ground in this conversation. We hear about how to write a political song.
We hear about her dog clothing company, which nearly kind of made her quit music, which would have
Almost
been
took her out of the game.
Huge mistake.
We hear about sexism in the recording studio.
And what her band name was when she was 7.
Yes, this is
which is incredible.
A world premiere scoop.
Yeah, let's not ruin that, but it is priceless.
Keep it locked.
And before we go, stay tuned until the end of the episode for a special solo performance from Natalie, which is not to be missed.
Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
Hey. Can you guys see us back there? Kind of? All right.
This is fun.
This is fun. Hey, Matt.
Just for a little bit of context, we're very happy to be here.
Yes.
But also we live a couple blocks from each other at home. And so
in Richmond,
this is
Virginia.
Very sort of a normal thing, that not with the audience. But
exactly. This kind of looks like your house, too. Matt has a ton of books. Well, we have a lot of books.
I do have some books.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I dreamt up some questions for you, Nat.
Thanks, Matt. Let's get started.
Let's get started. So for me, coming into this record, this was about sort of unveiling or showing who you are in a bigger and wider way. I think you have a powerful creative vision, a very well-developed sense of art and aesthetics, and as a producer, it was about getting behind you and just getting, not necessarily getting out of the way, but just enabling you to be the best version of you possible. And I think basically where that starts is just your listening palette, which I think is incredibly unique. And over the past couple of years, since the first record came out, or since we, started working together, you'd send me playlists or share songs or that kind of thing, and it's always completely off the grid from what most people are sending my way. Or I feel like your sense of what you like is just perpendicular to kind of what's going on in, sort of popular taste or whatever. It's just completely different. So I just kind of wanted to start with, I was looking over the playlist today of what you made kind of to get us ready for the record. And I just want to hear from you, like, where does that come from? What are some of those things, and where did that unique sense of taste develop?
Well, I feel like I owe a lot of my taste to my dad, who raised me on Motown music, and Motown has like a very strong song. It's like a very strong song form. Melody is like off the charts, groove, chords. I don't know. I just feel like everything that I like about music has stemmed from that. And then growing up in, Matt and I both grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's like a transit town. It's like a huge Navy town. So tons of different people move to Virginia Beach and stay there for a couple of years and leave. But oddly enough, Virginia Beach has a very strong R&B scene. Like Pharrell's from there, Missy Elliott's from there, Timbaland. Blackstreet. Oh my God, I was obsessed with Blackstreet growing up. I was in tap dance with his daughter. I took tap dancing lessons with his daughter. And I remember I was super starstruck by her at first, and then she's like the coolest person in the world. Anyway, we still keep in touch. But going into her mom's van, and there's TV screens on the back of the seat, and being like, oh my God, it's pretty rad. But I don't know, I've always had a real love of music and melody, and I wrote my first song in first grade, and I've just always been drawn to kind of a romantic, but with a groove kind of, I feel like all the songs that I like, you start to see a pattern, I think. Maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But there's sort of like the Martika stuff, or Evelyn Champagne, or
sure.
That kind of a little bit deep digging on either whether it's 90s R&B stuff or late 70s kind of, or being very into the Bee Gees, but not in sort of it's not ironic, and it's not, there's no sense of
I love everything about Michael McDonald, that is not ironic.
yeah, and that's not a new thing for you. That's
no.
Sort of a long term.
I remember I was songwriting with this friend of mine in Nashville in 2009, and I was playing him Doobie Brothers, What a Fool Believes, and I was like, this is the shit. And he was like, what? Seriously? And just kind of wrote me off. And
where did that come from? I mean, when did that start?
I
don't know, really.
I kind of answered that already, right?
I mean, okay, so in middle school, did you love Michael McDonald? Because that's not Motown.
Yeah, I guess in middle school I more liked Blackstreet and Escape and Montel Jordan. And
there we go.
Yeah. And Indigo Girls.
Yeah. That doesn't really come across.
That doesn't come across, yeah. But my sister really liked I had an older sister too, so my sister has really good taste in music, and she also showed me a lot of jazz stuff for the first time. So Ella Fitzgerald and all those jazz vocalists. I always say my sister has like a way better voice than me, but she doesn't sing anymore. You know, she got me into like Dinah Washington and all that kind of stuff too.
Can we talk about jazz for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about jazz.
Well, this is sort of later deep in my questions, but since you just brought it up, how does that influence your record? How does that influence your singing? It's sort of a running joke with you, or we talk about it a lot, because definitely in sort of the world that we grew up in, sort of very punk rock, Virginia Beach world.
Yes.
Like, to a large degree, like jazz music, and I think even now it's starting to be less so, but in a lot of places, like people have a hard time with the music. I mean, they just don't like it. It's not cool. It's sort of looked down, especially jazz vocalists to a large degree.
I didn't realize how much people dislike jazz vocalists until very recently, actually. I was like, this is the best kind of like American music ever, is jazz music. And especially when you can sing it, like, I don't know.
So when did you get into that, or how do you feel like it influenced the record? Or just, because I know you love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a soapbox.
Yeah, well, for instance, I mean, the easiest way to answer this question, like, clearly is, so after I decided to, like for instance, this is an example, like, when Matt and I were writing songs together after the election, and I was like, I want to scrap that old record, and maybe you and I can write stuff together. Matt has a couple drum machines, and you would just play some beats that you had saved on there, and then I would just start running melodies, and then you would start to figure out what I was singing. And a lot of the times, the melodies that were coming into my head were coming from like a place of like from like stemmed in jazz music. I think like I've learned a lot about how to sing and my voice and where notes can go within a chord, because you can just play like whatever.
Yeah, there you go. Masterclass.
Yeah, you can just play a C chord, but then you can sing like you can make any note really work over the C chord, or any chord. So it just taught me how to think. Like I think like the person that does it the best these days, in my opinion, is Frank Ocean. Like where he thinks of melodies over these chord progressions, like blows my mind. I feel like he maybe has this. He's coming from the same place a little bit, possibly. But so I guess it's just coming from that. Yeah.
That's cool. What songs on the record do you think of as being like that?
Well, Hot from the Mountain for sure. What other ones? Oh, Ship Go Down.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. That one, it's like we've gotten a couple of reviews. Like we've been playing some of the songs live recently, and they're like, "Oh, Natalie and her snazzy jazzy band," and we're like, "Oh, is that a dig? Is that a burn?" But I'll take it.
So,
because jazz has such like a negative, people just don't think it's cool at all. Anyway.
So in regards to your songwriting for this record,
yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel like you've grown as a songwriter from the first record to this record?
God.
Can you talk shop a little bit?
Yeah, so much. I mean, the record that Matt and I did together in 2011, 12. I mean, you and I first started talking in 2010, I think. I think I was still coming from a place with writing in Nashville, like, it was like fresh out of college, and just still, like in college, I felt like I had the freedom to experiment with my writing, like, oh, this is my time, I can just do anything that feels good, and like see how far I can take things, or maybe I'll write like a pop country song today, or maybe I was a songwriting major. And when I got out of college, I was like starting to freak out. Like,
can I just interrupt you briefly?
Sure. Yeah.
For those who might not know in here,
yeah.
Can you just briefly run down what a curriculum for a songwriting major is? And by those who might not know, I mean
you,
me as well.
I did a lot of creative writing, music business. I took a MIDI course, which is hilarious. But then we also did like music history and
That's not the songwriting part, though.
okay, so in songwriting. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going through all the classes I had to take. In a songwriting class, it was actually really informative because we talked about like all the different forms that there are in pop writing. Because I was a commercial songwriting major, and then we would do exercises where we'd have to like personify every single object in a song or something. I
mean, I sort of bring it up because you're a really craft-based songwriter, and you think of it that way, and you respect the craft, and I think you're very good at it. But I think for a lot of people, songwriting it's a mystery. It's like my dad asks me every time I see him, do the music or the words come first?
Yeah.
And like, that's the extent. So it's like, I think it's interesting to get down to like the craft, just what are some of the nuts and bolts of that?
I mean, it was for a very long time, very like I had to be inspired, to write, or I felt like that's how a songwriter is supposed to write good music. But what college taught me is, no, you have to write, if you want this to be your life, you have to write no matter what. And as you get older, it gets even harder. So that was like probably the most valuable thing I took out of being a songwriting major. But it's still like very, I guess because I do it so often and I've gotten to know myself so deeply as far as who I am as a creative person and my process. Like, there's still like an element of like pulling something from like this magical, like kind of unexplainable thing about it. Because sometimes you have sometimes it hits you and sometimes it just doesn't. And it's hard and it's hard work and you have to keep chiseling at it to make the song into a thing.
So how's it changed?
How has it changed? Oh, sure, right. Well, I mean, I'm extremely like emotional person. Like I'm very sensitive. Like things like deeply affect me, as you know very well, Matt. I go to Matt's house like all the time, and I'm like, I just need to talk. But I guess now it's different because I don't have to be deeply affected like I used to be. Like my last record was all very emotional, very like relationship-based music. And then I've been, experimenting with writing about things that didn't happen to me like personally or between one other person, or I can kind of write about anything now, I guess.
And I guess on some of the songs, like going through some of the songs on the record, like, do you think you could point out spots where you feel like that development happened? I mean, like examples of songs where you're like, I wouldn't have been able to write this song 3 years ago. Or stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, sadly, a lot of like the new stuff, half of this record is all brand, like, at the time it was brand new. Matt and I were supposed to be recording another record in December of 2016, but then when the election happened, I just decided my problems are insignificant to what's going on, and I just felt like it was. I mean, it's every artist's choice on what they want to do, and that's the beauty of being an artist. But it's I felt like me personally, I wanted to contribute and put positive energy out there and say something and keep a conversation going. So a lot of the new stuff, I guess I wouldn't have thought to have written Sisters. When you and I got together to write that one, I mean, I was in such like a hopeless state of mind, You and I had some really deep conversations for a long time, like a month before,
Yeah.
A few months.
Yeah, so the way it worked, I mean, just to give you guys some context on what happened, was we were scheduled to record the last week of November 2016 and all of December 2016. And then when Donald Trump was elected on November 9th, Natalie called me the next day, like basically losing her shit completely. And was like, we we have to move the recording session, which was a little bit more work than it might seem. I mean, everyone was booked. Everyone's time had been booked out. The whole studio had been booked out. The label was expecting a certain due date. There was just a lot of admin behind the scenes that like we had to go in and really fight to get it moved. But Natalie was pretty much.
My mind was made up.
Yeah, it was just like, this is what's going to happen. So that helped. And then we moved it to basically March and April the following year, and which was only a few months away, so it wasn't really that much time. And about half the songs on this record, we had been already discussing and kind of dealing with, like Short Court and a couple more. But then she was like, I was already sort of tagged to produce the record, but we spent basically every day in January. She hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to write together? Which actually, weirdly, we had never done before.
Oh yeah, we'd never written together before. That was pretty crazy. Matt and I have been known each other for so long.
Yeah, and that wasn't just, that was something that we had never done.
And it worked really well. We're like, how did we not do this before?
Yeah, so we ended up writing, and it was, we did like 2 or 3 days, and then she was like, can you do this every day? Yeah. I was like, yeah, I can do it every day. And so I just
awesome.
We just blocked out every single day of January.
That's right.
And we worked every day. Because
from like 10 a.m. till like 5, like a job.
Like 10 to 5 every single day.
Yeah.
And wrote the rest of the record. And I think part of that was, maybe you can talk about this a little bit, part of it was trying to writing political songs is hard. Why don't you talk about that, actually?
Yeah.
You can talk about how hard it is.
It is really hard because how do you talk about these things in a way that's not too on the nose or could come off like a little, I don't know, just, you don't want to alienate anybody, I guess, or it's like, how do we talk about this like really difficult, giant, broken issue in like 3 minutes and have it be singable and danceable? It's actually a lot harder than it sounds. But my favorite artist to ever make political music is Stevie Wonder. I feel like he's just the best at it. And he was I kind of just always kept him in mind with how kind he is with his approach to writing political music and how inclusive and just compassionate he is towards humanity just in general. And that's how I wanted to approach writing the new songs. I guess Sisters is a little like obvious where I'm leaning, but
it's a touch on the nose. It's a touch on the nose.
But I felt like that's what I needed at the time. And
I remember with that one, actually, when because we worked on the hook on Sisters, we worked. One of the great things about writing with Nat is that she won't let a section go if she doesn't think that it's right, which can be, I find writing with other people, that's a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, we got it pretty good. We got it 85% of the way there. We spent an hour on it. Like,
let's move on.
But I think both of us share the same, we have a very similar sort of temperature for like getting things right. And like the hook on Sisters, we probably spent a day. I mean, literally, like you're looping the same 8 bars for 8 hours, and it's just over and over and over and over again, which is sort of it's horrible.
Yeah, and
it's like it's a terrible thing to do to yourself. But I remember that when we finally got there was some of the lyrics.
Is all the like the anxieties start going through your head, like, oh, I suck at writing. I can't do this. At least for me, like, how come I can't just put that one little word in that part?
But I remember you were very insistent when we got what it was. It was like, this is what I want to say. Like it's done, basically.
Yeah.
Which is you know, you're the boss in that situation. So it's like, all right, it's done. Great. You can go home. Are there, I mean, do you have favorite songs on the record?
Hot for the Mountain is my personal favorite. And Matt and I also wrote that one together. That one I feel like just blends everything that I love about music. I really try to like, I'm very conscious about like putting all of the elements of music that I just like love. I'm very conscious of like, it needs to have like interesting chord changes, but it needs to sound simple. I like weird melodies, and it needs to have a groove, and those are my favorite parts about music. So that one, I feel like it just it has like 3 verses and a chorus. Like it's really weird. It's like verse A, B, and C, and then a chorus, and then verse A, B, C, bridge, chorus, and it's just like a really interesting progression, and yeah, it's my favorite one. And I like the message a lot. The message is, you know, it's just don't give up and we're hot for the mountain. Like we're just gonna keep going kind of thing.
So kind of related to that, just to get on the political thing a little bit, the way I saw it, and we can get into this as much or as little as you would like, but getting to the recording of this record for you wasn't a simple process.
No.
And I don't think that it would be exaggerating to say that you almost walked away from music.
This time around?
Period.
This time around? This record cycle? Last one.
Oh, you tell me.
Last one, yeah. I mean, I was living in Nashville. I was just like, I couldn't get a break. You know, I was 27 and just like, I'm so old, and I just thought like maybe I'm just not cut out for this, and like you know, Nashville, there's songwriters and musicians of all levels just doing it, and you're just still like working your 2 jobs and like shit, you know, feeling really self-conscious, comparing yourself to all the thousands of people in Nashville making it work. And that's when I started a dog clothing company, and that's when I was really considering like, oh, maybe I'll just do this. Like, this is my new life. Because I made a lot of money, like instantly. Like, that was the beauty of like making something with your hands and selling it and then instantly getting money. Like, music is not like that. It's like you have to spend a shit ton of money and then like cross your fingers, like hopefully people like this. Yeah. kind of.
And then coming off of that record, getting to this one was a journey as well.
Yes, I mean, this one, I couldn't believe it because we recorded, you know, the first record together, you know, 2011, 2012, and then it took a very long time to be released. It came out in 2015. And so I just felt this extreme sense of urgency, like I need to write and record as soon as possible. And then like, again, you know, I had kind of a crazy, you know, year in a lot of ways. And it was just like my life was changing. And also I'm like extremely picky about like the music that I want to put out there. But the record kept getting pushed, you know, I don't know if you remember that. Like, yeah. June, it was supposed to be June of 2016. Then it was supposed to be September. And then it was moved to November, December.
And then to March.
And then ironically, I was the one that wanted to push it further to rewrite the whole thing. But my label at the time, they were so upset. It was not easy. You know, they really wanted me to, you know, they had me like write in LA for a while. And that's something I've always just wanted to try, like knock it off my bucket list. And I just didn't have a really good experience out there. By write in LA,
you mean not just be out in LA. You mean...
Oh, co-write in LA. Yeah, they wanted me to write with like a bunch of pop people, which was rad. Like, I just wanted to try it. Like, why not? I have this opportunity. I'll go for it. But it really didn't work for me at all. There was one guy that didn't even know who, like, Stevie Wonder, like, they knew who he was, but they didn't know any of his songs or Curtis Mayfield or anything. I was just like, what? And what am I doing out here? Do not belong out here. I had a couple like panic attacks in the closet of the Airbnb.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What?
Also, like crashed the back of the car I was renting into like a pole. It was just like terrible. It was so much anxiety.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose, no.
I bring that up because it felt like to me very much there was a certain type of, I guess I have two questions. One, it felt like the feeling of, for lack of a better word, like oppression that a lot of us felt when Donald Trump got elected. You were sort of dealing with twofold in the sense that you had an industry situation that was being very hands-on with what you kind of...
It's like they were hands-on, but they also weren't at all. But they just like wanted a very specific path for me, and they wanted me to work out basically anywhere but Richmond. They wanted me to work anywhere but Richmond, which I thought was crazy. I was like, well, this is what I want to do, and I feel like an artist needs to work where they're most comfortable to make the best art. Duh. But
it wasn't so easy.
No, it was not.
Sort of a two-part question. One, how do you deal in the broad sense of we're making this art, but it also intersects with industry, it intersects with selling, and it intersects with a whole team of people that deal with your art in one way or the other. Like, how do you personally kind of find balance in making something because you want to make it and then dealing with the music business, which is a weird fucking place? It is. It's a weird business.
Yeah, I mean, well, all business is weird, I guess. But I guess especially
it's not all weird when you're selling art is different.
Yeah, it is
It's
different.
just a fundamentally different thing than selling dog clothing, for instance.
Yeah, it's a balance. And it's just me. I'm a solo artist. I'm not part of a band or anything. So my team is very important to me. And I respect my teammates, and I always want to hear people out. I'm always open to what people think. But if I think it's wrong, I'm going to say so. I have no problem with like putting my ego aside to like put myself in their perspective of how someone sees me. But then like LA, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go to LA, I'll try it. I'm always down to just like try something out, but like creatively, because I don't want to box. I'm also an artist. I don't like boxing myself in at all. Like, if anything, I can't. That's the thing I don't like the most about being an artist, is I don't want to be just this or that. So I'm working really hard to make sure I can have creative freedom like at all times. But yeah, I mean, the industry is strange, but it's like we all need each other, right? It's like I don't know how to do what the label does for me, and they don't know how to do what I do, so it's like there has to be a balance, and hopefully the people that you work with want the best for you and understand where you're coming from. And unfortunately, the label I was with before didn't really understand. My label didn't understand me.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's just like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I'm just trying to get real right now.
So, yeah. Not to...
You know what this is like.
Yeah.
You run Space Bomb Records,
I do,
Matt.
I do
Did
know.
you forget?
I know. I definitely know what it's like.
It's tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
So speaking of Space Bomb, actually, that was a nice segue. So after Natalie's first record, which I was very much involved in and released and produced, and I told her over and over and over again, like, listen, we didn't have any sort of business ties to each other at that point. And it was like, you go do whatever you want to do. Like, this record was successful. It was beneficial for both of us. But it was very important for me that she knew that there was I didn't feel like she owed me anything. I didn't feel like she needed to come back to Space Bomb to make her record. I didn't anything like that. And I might have told you that.
You did.
Over and over and over and over
for
again.
sure.
It was because I think it was really important to the art I think it was really important for our personal relationship. Just for that to be clear. But Natalie fought extrememely hard.
All right, don't go tooting your own horn.
I bring it up
But
because it's funny. Yeah. You fought really hard, like harder than I did. I kept being like, Natalie, like, they do not want you to record here. Like, maybe you should go somewhere else. Like, and you really put up a fight to come back to Richmond and record. So,
well, I live in Richmond.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
From recording other places.
Right.
Again, I'm not asking for compliments here, but why? What about the Space Bomb community? I mean, why did you choose to make it with us?
For sure. Okay. Well, one, I thought it'd be awesome, like after all this time, for like the first record we did it. Space Bomb wasn't even when we recorded. Space Bomb was just an idea you had. You hadn't released anything. You were still trying to like figure out what being a label meant. Yep. So we recorded the first record in the attic of your house. And I just thought it'd be cool, like after all this time, you've recorded so many records since you and I recorded together. I think maybe my record was the fourth record you ever produced, maybe?
No.
No? Oh.
Second.
Oh, second. Oh, my God,
maybe,
really?
If you count James.
I thought Carl Blau was before me.
Well, he produced his own record, basically.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. Okay, all right. Gotcha. So I just thought it'd be really cool. Like, I felt like I had grown so much and learned so much about, like, because I had never, at that point, recording with you guys, never recorded with a band like that before. I'd always just built tracks by myself or with one other person. And that sounds it sounds kind of flat, like, at least for me, because I'm not well-versed on bass. And, like, I can get around, but I'm not like Cameron Ralston, like, that plays on these records. Like, so, the first record, I was just more or less like observing what you guys were doing and just learning and soaking everything in. And I just thought it'd be really cool to come back with all of you guys and show how much, how diverse we all are and what we can do. And plus, like, I'm all about, like I said, my team. And like, I just have so much I'm going to get gushy, but I just love you very much, Matt. Matt means the world to me, and I just really trust you, and you trust me, and that's really important as well. I feel like I'm very, just as a lot of the times I'm like the only woman in the room when I'm recording, and most of the time it's actually really intimidating, and I'm a very kind of like read the room kind of person, and you guys, I know you so well, so I'm very comfortable with you, and I know you guys respect me and where I'm coming from as an artist, and you listen to me, and I wanted to make sure like I felt that comfort, with the second record, because the second record is terrifying because you released your first one, and then how do you follow up? So everybody has so many expectations of what you should be doing next, and you're never gonna like fully win, so I just wanted to be in an environment that I felt very comfortable in. Yeah. So
in the recording of the record, were there moments that stood out, like production moments, so the grind of the studio day was basically, and we were there for
a long time,
almost 8 weeks,
12-hour days,
12 to 12. Monday through Friday, 12 to 12. The band was there for about 2.5 weeks, and then we had vocals and all kinds of stuff. But that's kind of the rhythm, and it's basically like, it's more or less like a song a day. I mean, it's something along
2 songs a day.
Well, yeah, I guess that's right. Is that how we scheduled it?
Yeah.
You tell me.
No, we did. So we would start at noon, and then we would start tracking like literally like 12, 10. And then we would take a break at 6 for dinner. So we would track one song from like 12 to 6.
Oh, because we didn't do overdubs at night. We did a second song at night.
Yeah. And we took an hour break. and then come back 7 o'clock to midnight and do a second song. Yeah.
What was that process like? Just a little insight into that from your point of view.
It was. I knew what to expect, so that was really great for me. I know your process so well, so I felt like it was easier. It was really easy for me to like step in, and at times.
I would say that was a big difference in this one, and the last one, and we talked about it a lot. It's like Natalie. For me, it was. I felt like Natalie. You just needed to get in there, get your hands dirty more, because you have probably the majority of artists that I'm working with as a producer don't actually know what they want, and what you're providing for them is a language and a vision. But like with you, I'm not really doing that. I'm not providing the language or the vision, really. I'm sort of just get in where I fit in, like give you ideas that I think would be a good fit.
For sure.
And then
vice versa.
Just make sure it happens, basically. Make sure it gets done and gets done at a high level and run the day and that kind of stuff. But you really stepped in a different way on this one, which was by design. I mean, that's what we wanted.
I mean, I would say to Matt, like, if something wasn't going how I was hearing it, I know she'd be like, no, it's not right. And you were like, get in there, like, get in the live room. So then I'd have to like go over to Pinson, the drummer, and like he has this great story. I just toured with Pinson for the first time not that long ago in Europe, which we've never like played shows together before, which is crazy. We've just like recorded together. And he said this great story where like I walked into his drum booth and I was like, no, Pinson, it's more like this. And he was like, got it. I was like, I need you to hit that crash and then this. He was like, oh, okay. Like talking about music and explaining what you want is so stupid. It's really hard.
It is tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
Are there moments on the record from there's like sort of, when you're making a record, there's sort of like the songwriting moments in that world, and then there's kind of the production moments. Are there moments that stood out for you just as we were tracking that were either interesting or fun or scary or whatever, like that when you think back on that process or think back through the songs?
Well, I always do my own like background vocals, and the most rewarding, the most exciting part for me was having the choir. These 9 girls came, they sang in the VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University gospel choir. And these 9 girls split into 3, like, you had your alto, tenor, soprano, right? Yeah. Is that how it works for women? I don't know. And just having them sing these songs that were so brand new, and all of them just like really getting into it and singing in unison all together. And they were so quick to learn the material. I was really scared because I've never just had other people sing my stuff before on a record in a recording environment. And so you're really like, you're scared. You're like, this is new. I don't really know. You're still putting it all together. You're kind of insecure about it. And these girls like can sing their asses off, and I can sing, but I can't sing like that, like that they can. And I was just like, oh, do they like the music? Do they like my voice? And it was just a lot of fun, and they were all so awesome. They were so into it, like dancing in the live room, and like came up to me after, and they're like, if you ever need a choir, just let me know. Just like, yes, like. So that was probably the most fun for me, those girls. Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
This is a pivot, but I'm interested. So the question is, what is it like to be a woman in the music industry? But I sort of bring it up because Natalie and I had there's this story that it was just unbelievable to me. Before we did her record, I was producing another artist, and she was supposed to do background vocals. She was asked to do background vocals.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You were asked to do background vocals. And to me, Natalie doing background vocals is like a dream. It's just like sing a line and she sings it, and she's perfect pitch, it's in tune. And then you're like, great, sing a harmony above it. And she's like, okay. And she sings it, and it's perfect. And then you're like, sing a harmony below it. And it's like there's no extra time between like an idea you might have as a producer and like getting it recorded. It's really, really quick. And when we're doing it for your record, it's like we're flying. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of this really amazing, it just gets built. Just, you start a song and 30 minutes later, you've got this like shit tons of background vocals on it. And like, you don't have to ever redo anything. And most of the background vocals vocals in general can be incredibly, incredibly painstaking. But with Natalie, it's not like that
recording.
at all. Yeah. So you were doing background vocals for this artist. And so I was like, sweet, this is going to be great. Like, Natalie's going to come in, we're going to knock out these vocals.
I'll be there hour tops.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Easy. Like, just bam, 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 bam. And I was really excited about it. It was going to be cool. And you came in, and this guy just stepped in a way that I had never seen. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, it was telling Natalie what to do and being kind of rude, and all the while didn't know musically at all what he was talking about.
Literally telling me to sing wrong notes.
Yeah,
I was like, are you sure?
It was just this total like...
You're paying me. All right. I'll sing that wrong-ass
show.
note. If you want that note, I will sing it.
Yeah,
Where's my check?
She's singing. It was just this wild experience. And, he was an artist. So, again, it's like, all right, man, like, I'll sort of get out of your way here. It was very awkward.
He was so fired up.
Oh, man. Who was?
Not the guy.
He was very fired up, yeah. And so on the way home, I remember calling and being like, I'm so sorry. That was really strange. Like, I don't know what happened. And you were like, I think it was because I was a woman. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I had completely missed that. Mm-hmm. And when we talked about that for a long time that day, and just kind of like, damn, like because I'm not a woman in the industry, there's experiences that I don't see a lot of. I just don't have
at all.
And I remember we talked about it then, and then in light of the Trump stuff, like in the Hillary stuff, like we ended up spending a lot of time talking about those kind of things as it relates to the bigger picture in the world we all live in, but also as it relates to the industry. It was just eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could share.
Yeah, I remember that was interesting, after that session, because I was thinking to myself, like, oh, well, that was just kind of normal for me. Like, it was weird because he was literally telling me to sing wrong notes, but maybe I feel like that energy, that was nothing new to me. And I know how to deal with it, and I know how to work around like somebody being overly pushy or like thinking I don't know what to do. And I feel like a lot of women deal with that. Most of us, we have to just like, stand our ground, but then we have to learn how to weave through these little obstacles that are constantly put in our way when we're supposed to be the ones in charge. Like, you hired me to do background vocals. That's what I definitely know how to do. Like, this should have taken me half hour to an hour tops, but I was there for at least 3 hours.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I've been doing this like a long time. I've been writing, like I said, a song since I was in first grade, and I started like a girl singing group in elementary school, and then I started my first band. And
what were they called?
I am not going to say what our name was because it is so embarrassing. Okay, guys, this is so bad. But so my parents, we would vacation. I grew up in Virginia Beach, and we would literally vacation in Virginia Beach too. Like, I'd never left Virginia Beach. And we would rent like a beach house in Sandbridge. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sandbridge. It's pretty nice. But one of the houses was called Foolish Pleasure. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant, but like the logo was really 70s bubbly looking, and I was like, that looks really cool. That should be our band name. Oh my God, I've never told anybody that.
How old were you guys?
Oh, we were like 7. I don't know why my parents didn't say anything to me. So I've seen like a lot of changes, you know, and then growing up in Virginia Beach, I was literally the only girl playing in bands. Did you realize that?
Well,
I guess you guys had Sarah Carter.
yeah, we did.
Yeah. But that was like the first girl that I saw other than myself. Like,
I did meet the night that I met Natalie. We were playing a battle of the bands, and I was a junior in high school, which means you were
a freshman.
A freshman, and she was the only girl, and she had on bright orange pants and a Ramones t-shirt.
Sid Vicious.
Sid Vicious. You correct me every time I always get that wrong. She stood out. That was fun. And then I replaced her in the band.
Yeah, then you replaced me in that band that I had. But I just like, you know, in high school feeling like, I don't know, I just got used to how like I studied guys. Like I studied behavior, and because I wanted to play music so badly and I wanted to be in bands so badly. So I studied like the humor and the body language and like, which is kind of crazy, you know? So I could learn how to like hang and it not be weird, you know? I remember it first hit me when I was like, oh, I get treated a little differently. When I would have to play with like all the dudes in the punk bands and stuff, because those are the only like bands in Virginia Beach at the time. And all like the girls like loved all the guys so much, and then the girls like hated me, you know. And the girls hated me, and the guys were scared of me, and like the guys thought the guys were cool, and the girl, you know. And I was just like, what? This isn't fair, you know. But I guess I just kind of got used to navigating it because there's just nothing else that I really want to do with my time, you know? So, but it's changing, and that makes me so happy. Oh my God, there's so many girls, like, it's getting normal to see girls like in bands, like all girls playing in a band together. Like that was not even possible to me, you know, for so long, which is weird. I didn't even know girls played electric instruments until I was a freshman in high school, because I loved Motown music so much, and like the popular girls on the radio played acoustic instruments, played acoustic guitar and piano. So when I saw like Jenny Lewis playing bass, electric bass for the first time, I was just like, what? No way, you know, blew my mind.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So why do you make art? Why do you do it? It's complicated. It's a fucking complicated question. Or maybe it's not. It's interesting to me.
Oh, God.
Because I think different people have different answers.
Well, it started... I don't want to get like too personal, but like I was very much like a kid that like always stayed in my room and stuff, and I didn't really know how to like God, I'm not trying to like sound pathetic, but but I mean, it was like the only way I knew how to like talk and express myself and like work through. Like I said, I've always been very emotional. And that's something that that's always been part of my personality. And music was always such a way that like I bonded with like my dad and my sister. And so I felt like that was a way that I could connect with them. So that's when that's why I wrote a song so early. And I wrote the song about finding the last tulip on Earth. Like it was like a post-apocalyptic song. Like I said, I was very just like a weird kid. And And then from there, it was like, oh, if I write songs and like play in bands, then people have to hang out with me. So like you know what I mean? So like I got all the girls together in my neighborhood and I was like, this is how we're going to hang out. And I'm going to be in charge. You guys, you know, and these are all the songs that I've written and you're going to sing them, you know?
That was for the
girl group, Foolish Pleasure.
Foolish Pleasure. How many girls were in that band?
3 of us.
Oh, yeah.
Wrote a song about tomatoes. Wrote a song about being trapped inside a fish's stomach. Like I said, it was very strange. But we all had matching outfits. So I guess then from there, it's just kind of it's become part of, I feel like I've just grown. I mean, everybody, you're always growing and you're learning how your brain works and how you function in life. And like that for a long time, that was like the only way I knew how to like work through anything. So, but now I feel like because I've done it for so long, it doesn't have to be that anymore. It can just be like to put positive energy in the world. You know, now it's like I feel like I'm 32 now, so it's like I've got my stuff relatively figured out, you know, so, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of guys start music to attract girls, right? Like why did you start music?
Not for that, but...
Oh, why are you an artist, Matt? Actually, I want to know this.
I don't know. I feel like it's something I just always created. I always made stuff. And I think about it a lot because I think in especially because there's a lot of like emotional, I think kind of emotional reasons, like same thing as you, like you do it to work through emotional things, and it's sort of it's cathartic, and it's a sort of a meditational practice that you can kind of go to. It's also something that I was relatively gifted at compared to other things. So it's like you like to do things that you're good at.
It comes naturally, yeah.
But I think as I grow into that, some of that fades to some degree, although it's still true in some ways. But I think for me, the truth is like I just make it because I have to make it. Like that's what I do. And I wouldn't be if there was no I say this a lot, but it was like musicians aren't owed a music industry. Like if there was just because I make something doesn't mean there has to be an industry around it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think a lot about if there wasn't an industry, if I wasn't able to make, I mean, until I was 29, my first record came out on my 29th birthday. And up to that point, I had no idea that I was going to have any sort of like professional career in the sense of like
that's cool.
Doing this for a living. It was just something that I did, and I just like nose to the grindstone, kind of like hustle all the time. But my heroes were like free jazz guys who like slept on people's floors and made $200 a night or whatever. Like,
right, that was being a musician.
was like I was like, yeah, sweet, like if I can do that. But so the idea of having an industry wasn't ever. It wasn't really on.
See, you can be 29 and start a career, you know? Seriously.
It's true. And so I think now, I think about it a lot, just like if that part went away, like if there wasn't an audience or there wasn't a place to put out a record, it's like, would I still put out a record? And I think so. I think it's just something that I do, that I just have to do. And like the creation, just the act of creation is a place that I go and I learn about the world. That's how I learn about myself. That's how I learn about other people. That's how I learn about my friends. All my closest friends, like I make with. And aside from any kind of commercial aspect of things, that's like almost it's a ritualistic in a way. I think that's what gives me, a lot of hope and a lot of happiness.
Same. Yeah, my favorite is like going to a show that's so good and you're just like, oh my God, I need to practice right now. Yeah. You go home and you're like, I need to get better immediately. Yeah.
Thank you so much to Matt and Natalie. Let's give them a round of applause before we switch it over.
Thanks for being here.
So we'll just take a second to get this set up and we'll play some music. So
Yeah.
just hang tight for a
Sounds
couple
great.
minutes.
I'll play a couple songs. Stop talking. Start. Thanks, guys. That was fun. Okay. So this one is called The Fire. And I wrote this one with in Nashville a long, long time ago with this guy, Mickey Echo. Do you guys know him? But I know him just as Steve. Like, we used to sing at weddings together and stuff, and used to do background vocals for bands and stuff all the time. But then he just wrote a song with, and Rihanna sang it, so whatever, that's cool. Now he's like Mickey Echo, killing it. But we wrote this song together a very long time ago, and I remember really loving it, but I could only remember bits and pieces of it, so I ended up just kind of rewriting a little bit of it. And actually he rewrote it. Whatever, I'm not going to tell that story, but anyway, here it is.
What glance of light, oh, we keep filling up the space between the branches and the sky. Oh, but you and I, we see nothing but the place that leads us directly to the fire. All this is now grief and joy, elation, sadness, torment, then destroy. A sparrow within all of the noise, but our imagination keeps leading us into the fire. We go because it's the only place that we know. We will never be safe, up and down, lost and found. Oh baby, baby, take me right into your fire. With awakened eyes we met, never wanting to admit that we for so long haven't slept. No, wanna feel it rise, all of our love. Oh, and for a fight, all my lost hands reaching out to touch. Now but my gesture won't phase you, can never get enough. Resurrection is within our clutch, but our imagination keeps leading us into the fire. Oh, we go because it's the only place that we know. Oh, we will never be safe, up and down, lost and found. Oh baby, baby, take me right into your fire. Oh, but we can get higher. Ooh, every time I run, I just wanna run straight back into your fire. Oh, but we can get higher. Ooh, when I say I'm done, I just wanna run straight back into your fire. Oh, we go because it's the only place that we know. Oh, we will never be safe, up and down, lost and found. Oh baby, baby, take me right into your fire.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. All right. Let's see. I'll do this one. This one I really didn't want on the record. I was like, I can't put that song on the record. But just because it was written about a time that in my life that I just really wanted to put behind me. but I realized it's important to tell my story because there's lots of people that can relate. So, which, you know, and then it's like, duh. But it was just like a very like, I was like, no, this person does not deserve any of my like nothing. So, but it's a song and it's cool. So it worked. I found like the reason why I should record it. So this one's called Lost.
Turn up the fader, it's like a lightning bolt. We can't be saved. So now I'm listening on my own. Once there was a time when you had me hypnotized. You realized that your fingerprints are on my bones. I kept falling into every lie, getting pulled right back when I said goodbye. Ooh, oh, I get lost. I get lost when I'm with you. But at what cost? At what cost do I let you do what you do? Though all the scars are healing, you're always biting back. You know the struggles when I lie down, then you attack. Ooh, why don't you stop seeing through the looking glass? I watch myself sinking when you're the star and I am the cast. I kept falling into every lie, getting pulled right back when I said goodbye. Ooh, oh, I get lost. I get lost when I'm with you. But at what cost? At what cost do I let you do what you do? Oh no, we can't go back the way we came, on the same old track but broken train. I won't keep loving you, can't keep loving you. I can't love you again. Oh, I get lost. I get lost when I'm with you. But at what cost? Oh, at what cost do I let you do what you do?
Matthew White. Yeah. I'm so excited about this record coming out. Thank you for being here. Come say what's up. I love chatting. Come say hi.
Natalie, we are so glad that you love chatting, and we are so glad that you chatted with Matthew E. White on today's podcast.
And of course, we got 2 songs out of it as well, which is not too shabby.
Very beautiful. And thanks again to the Strand for co-presenting this fantastic event.
They're wonderful hosts. Wonderful
Love
hosts.
them. Today's episode is recorded by Jason Kelly and co-produced by Mark, the new Papa, Yoshizumi. Listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to head over to Stitcher, iTunes, and subscribe. We have some very cool episodes coming up in the following weeks.
Boots Riley of The Coup, classic hip-hop band,
The Coup.
who's directed this awesome new movie, Sorry to Bother You. He will be talking with, be grilled by, honestly, Ronaldo Marcus Green from Monsters and Men. And then what you got?
I've got Tim Kinsella, he of Joan of Arc, in conversation with Devendra Banhart. The guys have covered each other's music and are going to be in deep conversation. We're also premiering a song on the site. So
we're on fire.
We're on fire.
We are on fire.
Listeners, please have a great July 4th. And if you can, take one positive action that day against the administration for the Talkhouse.
One for us.
One for your
us.
boys. All right.
Take it easy.
Peace.